Get ready for it. Yeah, this is it. Go!
P1, so there you are.
Yeah, hi Kev, BT, how's it going?
Yeah, very well. Yeah, we're Sunday evening again, end of another big week, and I've been fascinated by your week because I know you started on a slightly slower note after a very big weekend of running last week, but you've made some amends during the week. So tell us about some of the runs and sessions that you've done. I know it because I follow you on Strava, but give us a bit more detail around the runs and how you're feeling.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good, Kev. So far, so good. Yeah, I actually find Mondays, which I sort of take them as rest days, even though the program still I think puts me in for like a strength session. But yeah, so I did have a slow start to the week, but then I ramped it up towards midweek, and then yeah, finished really strongly. So I had a big weekend actually. I ran 3.5 hour 38 odd Ks, and then followed it up with a close to 22 Ks today, sort of back to back. So yeah, no, I was pretty happy with that. I felt strong. I thought I was doing well until Brian posted on my Strava that that's not even what you're going to have to run on one day.
No, but I mean, there's merit in all of this. So those are massively strong runs, and the fact is, I think you can try and space them over 2 days so you don't really destroy yourself completely. So you'll back up this week again, hopefully. But I mean, I know you also did a very big hill session. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, I mean, the hills I'm finding a bit of a challenge just in terms of finding them because, as you know, Kev, where I live down here, and I do a lot of my running on the bay, it's pretty flat. So what I've been doing the last 2 weeks is actually down there. There's a sort of a ramp that goes up from the beach up to sort of the parking lot. It's not super long, but it's pretty steep. So yeah, I just did reps of that, and yeah, when you sort of start, I don't think I've ever done more than 10 actually. So I did 12, and that finished me off.
Yeah, that's hard work. I know the ramp, and it's pretty steep.
Yeah.
I know there are other people there. I've seen people doing it. It looks absolutely brutal. I think when I was there with you, I can't remember doing more than a couple.
Yeah.
So anything of sort of beyond 10, I think, is a very decent effort, and that was nearly 10 Ks as well, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I must say, I mean, a bit of that was obviously most of it was warm up and cool down, but the actual ramp efforts themselves, I mean, one of the things I always monitor is, to try and hold my pace, and so I held my pace pretty constant for those 12, so I was pretty happy with that. So yeah, but I suspect the hills. I'm going to need to get more hills in the next little while.
So maybe you'll be down there again sometime soon.
This week, I think. Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to comment on was your consistency and progression over the last month. Just looking at your Ks per week, I mean, you've had an awesome 4 weeks. So you've had 72, 74, 82, 84. So getting up into that nearly 100K territory, and I know you'll be over that at some point in time. But that's more than a base now. You're really starting to get up there. So how's the body holding up, and weight wise, how are you going, and how's your energy levels?
Yeah, no, I mean, as I said, I'm feeling the body's holding up reasonably well, surprisingly. I mean, obviously I get tired, but that's you would expect. But in terms of any niggles, I had that slight sort of muscle around my tendon, my Achilles tendon, which was sore for a few weeks, that has gone away. So yeah, the body's actually feeling pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, which probably I've never done before. I've actually spent quite a bit of time on the prep and the recovery. So, I mean, it felt like this entire weekend, all I was doing was either prepping for runs, running, or recovering from runs. But I really spent a lot of time stretching after both of my runs, wearing the recovery sort of socks, getting decent sleep, really focusing on the nutrition. You know the drill, Kev. I mean, you can spend all of your time on it, right? But what I have realized is it actually makes a massive difference, and that's why I think I'm sort of able to back up and feel like this morning, for instance, I was out before 6, backing up close to 38K run yesterday, which I finished at around lunchtime, and I felt pretty well recovered, and that would have been through just going through that recovery sort of routine yesterday, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. And sometimes we forget that recovery because running takes up a fair bit of time, and you sort of get home and perhaps don't have the time to do it. But I think, yeah, at this sort of level now, you have to do it. And on that note of talking about long runs, we have a friend who ran Port Fairy with us, Derek, and we just wanted to do a shout out to Derek today. He had a massive challenge that he put to himself as part of his Comrades journey, which was to get out and really run a long one, which I think he did on his own, and he smashed out a marathon today. So to Derek, well done. I know you will get a lot of confidence out of that run, and yeah, it's impressive from someone who's pretty much new to running, and let alone marathons and ultra runs.
Yeah, no, great effort, Derek. And I mean, that run is actually, I don't know how many people run it, but it's an annual organized run, Frankston to Portsea. So yeah, there would have been a few other people out there, I suspect.
Okay.
But yeah, it would have been a beautiful run along the bay there, but reasonably tough as well. There's some big hills in there. In fact, the one hill, I think it's called Balcombe Hill, apparently has the exact same elevation as as in Chunga, which is one of the big hills that we're going to go up on Comrades. So he's definitely, Derek, you're getting a bit of practice in there for in Chunga by the sounds of it.
No, it's a good effort. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of a flavor of my week, because I'm feeling quite a lot better about where things are at. So it's yeah, it was a better week. I got some running in. I feel like I've sort of turned the corner. So that's been good. I still have to take it pretty easy, but I did build up to a 21 this weekend, which I had a couple of mates help me with that one, and just sort of pace me and probably add a bit of motivation and the like. So that was good. And I also knew that I needed to get something bigger than a 21 in. So I realized it wouldn't be able to do that by doing any more running, given where the injury's at. So did a little duathlon. So added some cycling in, and got on the bike with Villy, who we had on last week, and he tortured me for 40 odd Ks, and but no, it was great to have him with me and help me through that. So yeah, so I ended the week on a bit of a high, and sort of.
That was a solid effort, Kev. I think I was saying to you, I think I'd rather have done my long run, than do the run and cycle straight after. So yeah, that was a very solid effort. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly takes it out. It does take it out of your legs. So when we got on the bike, I'm not sure about Villy, but I was my legs are feeling shattered, and as luck would have it, there was a peloton coming or just in front of us, and they didn't look actually too serious. They looked like a bit of a motley crew of riders, and I thought, we sort of just caught them by default, and then you're in that dilemma where you're on a mountain bike, they're all on races, and Villy was on a hybrid, and we sort of go, well, I was actually in front, and I thought, oh no, I think we'll just push past these guys. You sort of get halfway through, and you're going, right, maybe this wasn't such a good idea, and this is going to be embarrassing now if I pull into the middle of their peloton on my mountain bike. And so I just had to push through, and like we're 2Ks into the ride, and got past them, and then you can't just slow down either, because then they just come straight past you again. So I had to push for a couple of Ks just to stay out of the way of these guys. So it was a very, very silly move at the start of a cycle. But anyway, it was Vinny said later he wasn't quite sure what I was doing there. He was I thought I was pushing a little bit hard too early. So anyway, so we had a bit of fun, but it was very, very, very tough. But it is nice to be back on the road, and I'm feeling like there's hope for me yet. So we'll just keep pegging away, and hopefully I can back that up this week as well.
And I think, Kev, you were saying you're on some anti-inflammatory at the moment, which seems to be making quite a bit of difference in terms of the pain levels.
Huge. Yeah, I didn't actually take one today. I was out and about, and all of a sudden the heels started getting sore, and realized I hadn't had my dose, and so yeah, definitely it's made a huge difference. It's not ideal though, because you obviously one's concerned that you sort of got the pain when you're not sort of on any medication, and that there's a reason for that pain. So it's not ideal, but hopefully it's for a short period, and it helps me sort of push through. But yeah, I think one of the things we're going to say, Hill, is we've just got to watch, where we're at, and do, it's very easy to be slave to your program. And this week in particular, I think I know that Strava is telling me I'm overreaching and doing too much, so I'm conscious of that. Likewise, you're feeling strong, so you might carry on. But if you during the week, midweek, feel your energy levels are low sometimes, and you just got to back off. And I know you said on Friday, for example, you had a rest day, and that did you the world of good. So yeah, that recovery period is key.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you've got to, and hopefully, Kev, we've done, I know we've never run something like Comrades, but we've been running for a while, and we've run quite a few marathons, etc. That you've got to listen to your body. It's just, you just hear that and experience that time and again. So especially now as we're getting to the really sort of big weeks, I suspect there are going to be a few times there where you just got to take an extra rest day. But I think that'll allow us to get to the start line.
Now, Hill, I know you've got another good quote for us this week. And did you want to put it out there and have a quick discussion about what it means to both of us?
Yeah. So this quote, Kev, is from a famous French philosopher. Probably not going to pronounce his name correctly, but Blaise Pascal. And the quote is, "The heart has reasons that reason does not understand." So what does that mean to you in the context of Comrades, Kev?
Yeah, I think it's perfect for Comrades, because most people say, "What on earth are you doing?" And I don't understand why you'd want to do something like this. And I've asked myself the question a million times, and particularly when things are not going well, or you might have a hiccup along the way, you sort of, you really, question it. But for some reason, for me, I just feel like this is something I want to do. And I think it's got a lot to do for me about the journey we've started together, and, the ethos of running high, and also all the meaning we've spoken about in Comrades. So for me, I just feel like the reason is my heart's telling me to do it. If I had listened to my body, it probably would be telling me something different. But I don't know. Maybe it's a bit like falling in love. You listen to your heart, and sometimes it'll take you to the right place, but maybe sometimes not. But yeah, that's what it means to me. How about you?
Yeah, no, I think it's something very similar. We spoke, I was actually thinking about that sort of session we did on sustainable goals at the retreat. And then I think we did a video on that as well. And, we talked about going back to your why, and, thinking about particularly when things get tough. And we sort of at that point, you've had a lot of tough time through your injuries. The runs are starting to get tough now with those sort of long runs, etc. You do go back to why you're actually doing it, and that to it is about the heart, and I think we said it's about the sort of the reasons are emotional and quite deep, rather than just, you know, I'm running it to beat a time or to lose weight or, you know, whatever. So yeah, I think for me as well, it's all that connection, just the history of the race, the connection back to South Africa, all of those things. I've actually been, I just actually finished the book. It's the history of the Comrades, by John Cameron Dow, and it's just a phenomenal book, on the history of the race, but also the history of South Africa over that period, which was, as we know, is a pretty checkered history. But yeah, I mean, if you sort of read that, I mean, I think that there are not a lot of people who would have done Comrades who wouldn't understand why someone would want to do Comrades. But if you haven't done it, then or you're not a runner, it's probably quite hard to understand. But yeah, I mean, my reasons, or my sort of wanting to do it is as strong as ever. So as you said, we've started it, Kev. So, you know, obviously injury or something like that could mean we don't complete it, but we're going to give it our best shot, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the reality is there are lots of people who don't finish it. So there's no shame in that. And a lot of those people go back and try again. There are people who've tried multiple times. So,
yeah,
you know, yes, it's not easy just to you know, get to South Africa every year and try and do it over and over and again. So yeah, we're going to do our best to try and finish it this time.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't happen, then, you know, we've had the experience as well. So
yeah,
so that's kind of the, yeah, I think the reasons run deep, as you say, and wouldn't make sense necessarily to someone who's not been there or just looks at 90 Ks and goes, well, that's crazy. So yeah, but nice quote, Hill, and good luck for this week. You no doubt have got another big week. I'm just listening to my body, so I'm not actually sticking rigidly to my program. So I'm going to be still doing a bit of cycling, a bit of running, a bit of whatever I can. But hopefully I can, you know, crack another 50K week for running, and then, you know, build some stuff around that, continue with the strength as well. So, and then, you know, hopefully be able to get back onto the program in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, you're getting in some nice variability anyway. I know that's sort of forced, Kev, but that's not a bad thing. So yeah, and we've got Easter weekend coming up, so more time for running.
Yeah, it's traditionally a very big week, I understand, for Comrades. So those who big Comrades runners will know that. I think Easter is massive. There's some big races in South Africa and the like. So
I think it's 2 Oceans actually on
yeah.
Easter. So, which is the old it started off as a Comrades training run down in Cape Town, but it's a massive race in its own right. It's a 56K race. So I think that's on Easter weekend, yeah.
You've knocked one of those off before, so there you go.
Yeah, that's the toughest race I've ever done, but I think Comrades might take over, Kev.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I hope everyone has a good Easter. It is a good time to be ramping up your running. I know I've got lots of mates here in Perth who are all training for the Margaret River Ultra. So it'll be a big week. I see people doing double runs and all sorts of things. So it's great to see all the Margaret River t-shirts out there and everyone giving it a crack. I've got a few mates doing the solo as well. But to all those people out there running, yeah, go for it over Easter. It's a good time to do it.
Yeah, no, the weather's getting good for running, and having run a bit with you down in that area is beautiful. It's I'm envious of those guys running that for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right, Hill, thanks for the quotes. Thanks for the chat and the catch up, and well done on an amazing week. And it's great that you're holding up so well. I'd be very proud of that. So hopefully I can get up to that level before Comrades starts. So I'm holding thumbs.
Yeah, no, it was really good to see you back in it, Kev, and a lot more positive, I think, than a couple of weeks ago. So that's good, and have a good week this week as well.
Thanks a lot. All right, Hill.
All right, see you.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
This day is gonna be the greatest memory, making history. Let's go. You don't need no luck with that golden touch. Time to light it up. Let's go. ready for it?